The Fremantle Dockers, 2025, at different times, they really threatened in the end. Lose to the Gold Coast Suns in the thriller, but they have got the list, everyone believes, to have a real crack at 2026 and beyond. They've added Jud McVee. That trade went through for pick number 23, and the GM of football at the Dockers, Joe Brierty, Joe Brierty joins us now. Joe, welcome back to Trade Radio.
G'day, Cam. G'day, Pickers. Thanks for having me, lads.
We'll start with Jud McVee because it is always easy as a player and most certainly as a club when you get it done pretty early. You had to get involved in the mega trade, helping out the Lions and the Eagles, but a little bit no fuss, no muss to get a really quality footballer in.
Yeah, look, you're spot on. Look at our demographic of our list and what we're chasing. And Jud's 22 and I think he's played 65 games now, so and had a couple of top 10 finishes. So he's a high calibre player and thinks he adds to our needs from a list perspective, and ultimately got pretty clear between us and Melbourne as to where his value sat between our initial two picks in the first and second round. And obviously, as you said, we'll able to get involved with West Coast and Brisbane to secure that pick.
When you're looking at players around the league, and it all depends on your demographic of your list, obviously, but when you look at a player, like, and not necessarily just Jud specifically, but like 60, 65 games under the belt, play a particular role that most certainly from the back half, but he can be offensive. But that timing of age and the type of football he has played, that feels like the sweet spot to be able to get a guy straight in and contribute, isn't it?
Yeah, you're spot on. And I think he's been able to contribute already. He obviously had a delayed start to his season this year, but the demographic of our list as a group going forward, for him to be able to kind of go through that cohort of 22 to 27, and we plan for him to finish out his long-term career here. So, yeah, it fits nicely, and excited to see what he can add.
To get him in, Joe, you had to include your crosstown rivals there, the Eagles. That must have been hard to do.
What are you talking about? We love West Coast. Always get along very well. It's one of those things. Obviously, yeah, we look at what's best for us, and the conversations we're able to work in with West Coast and Brisbane, and the discussions that they're having, and what their needs, obviously, with trying to get Starcevic over to West Coast. So, and it was a nice fit for us as well. So, always happy to work with West Coast to secure a trade.
What's your strategy going into the trade period? McVee obviously was a priority. Are there others that we're not quite across yet, or is there a specific player that you're looking for now?
Oh, look, it was documented that we were having some discussions with Jai Sarong, obviously, and he's decided that he'll head over to Sydney. Outside of that, we've only got, with the upgrading of Jeremy Sharp from the rookie list, and Draper will come off Cat B onto the senior list as well, and the trading of Jubb. We've only got two picks that are live in the national draft. So at the moment, we feel like we're fairly settled. Still got Will Brierty, who we've agreed to move over to Port Adelaide, and having those discussions at the moment. So in recent years, bringing in Jackson and Bolton and Clark and a few others, we've obviously been pretty busy, but I alluded to earlier, we feel like that cohort and the kind of consistent players that are playing through our 23 are a group we've extended a number of players longer term, and we think they'll take us forward in the years to come, but you never know, something might pop up.
What about other players from your club? Are there clubs that are saying, well, we wouldn't mind having a little talk about this guy or that guy? Is there a couple of guys that others are interested in that you may not be interested in talking about?
Yeah, look, from our perspective, they're definitely all contracted and came from the stay, and none of those conversations have popped up and no one's come to us. So a pretty committed and connected group at the moment that feel like we're on the right track. And obviously this year we're able to take some steps forward, and disappointing the way that we ended. But, yeah, as I said, going into next year, a healthy list and a group that we think can be contending.
Joe, just take us behind the scenes a little bit. When it comes to getting involved in the deal with the Eagles and the Lions, and you're clearly looking for a middle ground pick to be able to get McVee in, do you reach out to one of those clubs and say, hey, is there something we can do? Did they mention it to you? Just for the footy fans around Australia, how does that actually work when you sit down, maybe a Monday at Marvel Stadium or a couple of days earlier?
Oh, look, you're spot on, Cam. Like David Walls, our list manager, does a fantastic job with his relationships across the clubs in the competition, and his ability to work with our list management team and assess what potential trades might look like, and then obviously deal with West Coast and Dom at Brisbane to kind of look at what they're needing as well to facilitate some trades and how we might get involved. So those conversations are happening across the board between different clubs, and some of those eventuate into something that could be a possibility, and obviously some are shot down straight away. So a number of conversations happening daily over the phone and in-person meeting to make sure that we're leaving no stone unturned in what could possibly be the best trade for us to achieve getting Jud across the line.
You lost a big ruckman to Carlton. I suppose when you got a ruckman on your list and he's struggling to get a game when you got Jackson and Darcy in front, you never want to lose a player who's going to be able to play some good footy, I think, next year in the navy blue. But there is also a time where you say to yourself as a football club, this guy might be better off somewhere. Is that how it sort of worked when he came to you and suggested he might go elsewhere?
Oh, that was the conversation with Liam, and look, we had some conversations throughout the year where we were happy for him to stay at the club and continue to develop his ruck craft, and I think he's alluded to the fact that he was probably frustrated at times that had two A-grade rucks ahead of him, but ultimately, he had some strong waffle football, and it was a pretty significant deal on the table from Carlton, so by no means are we willing to get in the way of his opportunities to play AFL footy, and the conversations we were having, he obviously felt like he was a better chance of playing AFL through Carlton than at Freo, and it's something that we'll look to do, obviously through the draft or rookie list, or even consider SSP spots in terms of bringing another ruck onto our list.
How involved is the coach during this period? I'm always fascinated because some coaches are real hands-on and others are just happy to just let the David Walls types, and you, I assume, to run it all from their end.
Yeah, well, and JL has a say for sure from a list management perspective in terms of what he feels our list needs are from a coaching group point of view. Ultimately, in terms of responsibility, we'll let Wallsy get to work and own this space, and as a committee kind of have the discussions that we need to and make sure that we're aligned in our decision making. But JL definitely has a voice here and there, but he's actually over in Singapore at the moment enjoying himself.
I was going to say, I didn't think they were all around, these coaches. I didn't think they'd be all there. They've got phones, I guess.
No, he's definitely been on the phone, making sure he's across everything that's going on. But look, JL's happy for Wolsey to own his responsibility, and I'll obviously support Wolsey in my role, and make sure that we land and agree on what we need.
Joe, how do you look at the year in 2025? A really close year, top 9 teams, very little between them, as we know, closest maybe in history, a clear divide between the top 9 and the bottom 9. You had an opportunity. You're
great
right
win to get
there.
in. Great win to make the finals against
Huge
Bulldogs.
Win. Just belt the Bulldogs and get in, and you have the host the final, and you go down by a point when you led late. When you look back at 2025, you got a young list. So clearly there's going to be development in it, and 26 and beyond should be exciting times for Dockers fans. But when you look at 25, do you look at it as a mini missed opportunity in some way, or do you look back and go, we made the strides we expected, and now it's time to launch?
Oh, look, you definitely, it's a hard one to assess, isn't it? Because you get to that first round of finals and you go, geez, we feel like we're 2 minutes away from being into the next week, and you just never know how things can fall. And that's the thing that as a group, you're really chasing that consistency, and that's probably something across the year we felt. We started the year pretty slowly and then got on a run for 13 weeks where we were playing some pretty consistent football and obviously taking it up to the contenders across the competition. And I think Picker said, look, there's a fair bit of growth there. We feel like there's a lot of growth to come as well, but the consistency piece and really owning some of our strengths across the ground and how we can put teams away will be important, and then obviously take it up to the contending team. So we go into next year confident in the direction that we're going as a squad and as a club, but definitely feel like there's some unfinished business from how we obviously fell away in the final this year, and it drives our playing group and our football department to make sure that we hit pre-season up and running in November.
Thought it was going to be tough for you, Joe, to be honest. I mean, Hutchie declared you guys as the premiership. You'll be winning the flag earlier in the year, and he could stop Christmas, Hutch. So once he's got on board, on your back, I thought it was always going to be tough for the Dockers.
No, he's a fan, Hutchie. I think we ran into him having lunch before the season started. He said he was all in. So look, it's it is an exciting place to be, but there's plenty of work ahead of us, that's for sure.
It must be a weird time, Joe, to do trade period and not have to answer questions about Luke Jackson. It always has to be a media report that he wants to come back to Melbourne, and he's very fully settled, had an outstanding year, and in the Dockers, in the guts, or in the ruck rover position, or even in the ruck. And to not have those rumours getting around must be just help you sleep a little easier at night.
Yeah, it's a funny one because every time we spoke to Luke, he was very happy, and then obviously the rumour mill continued to run. So I'm really excited about what he's going to do over pre-season, with a pre-season of doing some midfield craft, that's for sure. Didn't really do any over last pre-season because we didn't have rucks going through with Sean being injured at the time, so he spent a lot of his pre-season in the ruck. But this year, his ability to kind of continue to build that midfield craft and his flexibility, we were able to send him forward late in games, and he had some pretty big moments across the year. So he's a talent, and I think he's just scratching the surface of what he can do across those roles.
Just in that situation, and not with Luke Jackson specifically, but there are times there are reports that come out that a player might be looking to leave a particular state. When it comes to Fremantle and they are floated for whatever and however they do come up, do you make it as a club, do you make a note of it, or do you go straight to the player, you go to the manager? How often does things have to happen before you actually do ask the question if there's anything there?
Generally feel like we wouldn't get those surprises where it kind of comes through the media. I think we'd have a pretty good feel through either Wolsey's relationships with managers or our relationship with our players, where those conversations we would be ahead of and have a pretty good picture. And that's why, from our perspective, it was really a non-story. Luke continued to talk about how happy he was and where he feels his football's growing, and finishing fourth in our best and fairest this year. He's definitely trending the right way. So across the board, we feel like we're definitely ahead of those. But any time that something did pop up that we were unsure of, we'll just go to the source and have those conversations and make sure we get on the same page.
Well, you've got a little bit of a couple of travels to come, I believe, Joe. So yeah, enjoy your travelling over the next little period.
Hang on.
He's going, I know he's going to Adelaide.
Where are you off to, Joe?
He's going over to see one of my boys. Wolsey was telling me yesterday, so let me know where we get on.
Well, hang on. Travelling. He's going to Adelaide. It's about an hour and a bit flight. He's going there for
an hour and a bit? Is it?
Yeah.
It's got to be more than an hour and a bit, isn't it?
Well,
Adelaide to
might
Perth.
Nothing to see here, Cam. Nothing to see here,
Nothing.
mate.
He's already on the list at Fremantle. Don't worry about that.
Just on that, Joe, do you get away? How does the next few months look like for you? It's such a full, almost 12-month-a-year calendar. When do you get a bit of a downtime for yourself?
Yeah, after trade, have a couple of weeks, refresh, get away with the family, and hopefully turn my phone off. We'll announce a few football department changes in the coming days and tidy those things up, and then start for back kind of mid to early November, and then I might try and grab another week in Jan, but it's a full book across the year, that's for sure.
I can imagine, mate. Always appreciative of your time, mate. Good luck for the rest of the period and putting your feet up and into 2026 at Fremantle.
No worries, gents. Thanks for having me.
Thanks.
It'll be done.
Joe,
There you
we'll
go.
chat soon.